Welcome to Talk Around Riyadh, the Wheel of Time showcast. I'm your host, Joe Perry, here with my co-host, Jen Isgro and Tom Kokoza. How you doing, Jen?
I'm doing good, Joe. We only got a little bit of snow today. It wasn't enough to really bother anyone down here. I don't know about up by you, but
They closed school here.
did they? Oh
It snowed
no.
like an inch and a half.
Yeah, but it's been really cold here this week, but not too bad, and I'm excited about tonight.
Yeah. How about you, Tom? You excited about tonight?
Oh, Joe, you know that I am. We have a big show, a really big show tonight, folks. We have a big show, and we're going to be talking about a character who is near and dear to my heart.
Joe?
You want me to say it? Usually I tee you up, Joe, and then you say
Wait. Hold on. Ladies and gentlemen,
He's
Donald Finn.
We got three of you here. Is it Jen, Joe, and Tom?
Thanks, Donald.
Donald Finn is near and dear to my heart. That's not who the show is about tonight.
Oh. Well, we'll get into that later, though. Do we have to tell people right now, or do we make it a No, it's not a surprise or a secret. We're talking about...
It's probably in the title of the episode, yes.
It'll probably be in the title of this episode. So then there's nothing. See, I don't need to say anything then. So then you know who we're talking about tonight. But before we also have news, right? We're going to do a deep dive. When was the last time we did a deep dive?
It's been a long time. A lonely
time.
I was going, it's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you without a dope beat to step to.
I don't know what that is, but that's cool. I like it.
That's Aaliyah. I don't know who sings that part, but it's an Aaliyah song. Try again.
You're saying Aaliyah instead of Aaliyah. Is that by choice?
Aaliyah. I don't know. There's two A's, so I was putting accent.
It's
what is it? Aaliyah?
I believe it's
Aaliyah.
Aaliyah.
Yes.
Aaliyah.
Aaliyah. As Mr. What's his name would say.
Anyway,
Aaliyah. I've never heard anyone say it that way. That's why I asked.
Aaliyah. I didn't say Aaliyah.
Yeah, you did.
So like
no, not Aaliyah. No,
Aaliyah.
You put a hard emphasis on the ah.
Yeah.
I think it's more of an ah.
Yeah, I think it's just Aaliyah.
Yeah.
Let us know, listeners, what you think.
I was going to say, she can't let us know. May she rest in peace.
Or even if you know who she is. So we have some news to talk about. We're going to do a deep dive. They're connected, everybody. See how we work this out? We really think about these things ahead of time. But before we get to that, Jen, what's happening?
Welcome back to What's Happening. Our first post this week is from costume designer Sharon Gillum, who, as I mentioned in last week's segment, has been slaying over on her Instagram page. Today, Sharon posted a very long and detailed Instagram reel with this caption. Here you go. High Lord Turok's costume from season 2 in more details. Part 1. So many people worked on this. And then she goes on to tag a large amount of people who assisted with this costume. The reel focuses on High Lord Turok's costume, literally from the outside in. She describes every layer of the outfit, exactly what it's created from, what it's inspired by. It's beautiful and really interesting. So if you're at all interested in seeing the depth and intricacies of these costumes, even some stuff he was wearing that we never got to see on the show because it was underneath other parts of his costume. And a late addition to this, which I just added, is that she actually posted part 2 of this video later on, which focuses more on Turok's ribcage armor collar, whatever you call that was designed by Rob Goodwin. So do yourself a favor and watch these and then follow her so you don't miss any of the others.
Yeah, she's a real good follow because she's always posting stuff about costumes specifically for the Wheel of Time. So, yeah, I would definitely recommend to follow her on Instagram. And of course, we'll put a link to this in the show notes.
We sure will.
It's a nice De Niro you got there, Tom.
So, our second post comes from Daniel Henney, and it's a little bit of a throwback. Hashtag dog news. The cast of Wheel of Time is very big on rescuing animals. Daniel's animal of choice is dogs. So Daniel writes, with incredible help from Hyojin Kim at Dog Us Planet, we have successfully adopted and rehomed Sa Chil from Seoul to America. I flew back with him from Korea to LA last week. He is now Miso, which means smile, and has met his incredible new family. Thank you so much to all that made this possible, from being found on the streets to a new life in the States. Video of our journey to come soon. If you're interested in adopting from Korea, please contact Dog Us Planet or HSI Global for details. #adopt, don't shop. This accompanies pictures of Daniel and others with the most adorable golden retriever, who has been aptly named because he has the biggest smile on his face after being adopted into what looks like a very nice family in the U.S. Daniel has done a lot of work helping to rescue dogs in Korea, so he keeps up his status as one of the greatest human beings on earth, and he inherited that from his parents.
I feel like he's not rescuing dogs in Korea. It seems like he's rescuing dogs from Korea.
Well, he's rescuing them in Korea and then taking them to other... I don't know if they're all leaving Korea. Like, could they find a nice home in Korea as well?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question because I feel like all the ones you show, they're always flying back to America.
Maybe that's like his section of...
That's like his
American.
branch
Maybe
of
he does the America transfers and he actually flies back with the dogs.
International businessman.
Yeah. No. There's other people that live in Korea full time that are working on
The Korean
rehoming in
ones.
Korea, but he does the American version.
Jen, that
This is
makes
totally
so
made up. I
much
actually
sense.
have
Jen,
no
this
idea if
makes
that's
so
true.
much sense that I'm really upset.
I have no idea. But thank you so much to Daniel for sharing Miso's story with us. And once again, if anybody out there ends up adopting a dog from Korea, please share it with us so that we can talk about it on What's Happening.
Oh, what? Oh, ladies and gentlemen, Miso.
That's not Miso. That's a mean dog.
That's
Listen,
Cujo.
there's much more of a chance that I would adopt a dog from Korea than a hen. Sorry to Juliet Howland. My house, my layout isn't good for a hen as much as it would be for a dog. Tom absolutely would not adopt either one of those creatures. So
No, the hen is more likely. And
the
it's
hen,
not
maybe.
particularly
Yeah,
likely.
yeah.
No, I'm a Nano to the dogs. Whatever.
What
No,
if we
no,
just
not for me.
rescue a rooster from like outside, just like bring it into our house? Not a rooster, I'm sorry. A turkey. A
Those are
turkey from
big.
Staten Island.
It's a big.
Just
They're
like
gigantic.
They're
to
big.
adopt him and yeah. We can do that.
Name him. What should we name him?
Tom the turkey. Like from the
Well,
That would be
I'm Tom.
cool.
I'm not gonna
Thanksgiving
name-
Day parade.
That'd be so confusing.
Which Tom do you mean?
Yeah. Hey, Tom, go get me a beer.
There's 3 Toms in your
Hey,
house.
3 Toms here.
Yeah.
We'll turn around.
You're all getting a beer. It's working.
Gobble, gobble. I was trying to open the fridge.
The three of you, your son, and a turkey just go racing for the refrigerator.
That's right.
Tom, you've heard this one. Me, my son, and a turkey go racing for the refrigerator. Oh, anyway, that's all I have. Back to you, Joe.
All right, let's get into it. We're going to do it a little out of order because I know, right, the news we have is, the Watts series had found an audition tape with potentially Samael in it. So, of course, we'll talk about that. But we're going to do a Samael semi-deep dive because we're not going to go that deep because we don't want to spoil too much. But I figure we can talk about the article a little bit later after we give a little bit of background on Samael because it would feel weird to jump right into it. I don't know. It just doesn't feel right, guys. Doesn't feel right.
Okay.
All right.
Man.
Samael. Tom, your favorite Forsaken. Jen,
Yeah.
you're going to read us into the first appearance of Samael in the
I
books.
am. The book is called The Fires of Heaven.
It's upside down.
No, it isn't.
It's not.
It's just back. It's not upside down. Look in the window
it's
that other
backwards.
people
Sorry.
see.
It's backwards.
Yeah. Here's the book. Anyway, it's written by Robert Jordan. Don't know if you've heard of him, but in this
It's
edition,
kind of a big deal.
around these parts, in this edition, it's page 18 of the prologue. I was kind of disappointed because I usually like a follow-up paragraph or two, but I didn't see a good one, so I'm just gonna read his first. Here's one.
Wow. In the moment.
This is content
Nah, that's
creation
not.
happening. right in
It's
front
not
of
that
your
good. It's
ears.
not that good. I'll just read the one paragraph for now.
There's a lot of
Just-
editing of this.
Yeah, there's a lot of people being introduced in this chapter, so I think that's why there's not. Usually, you get maybe 1 or 2 people being introduced, and you get more meat. So first, Samael in this chapter, there's not too much, but here we go. Okay. Samael was compact, solid, and larger seeming than he truly was, his stride quick and active, his manner abrupt. Blue-eyed and golden-haired, with a neat, square-trimmed beard, he would perhaps have been above the ordinary in looks, except for a slanting scar, as if a red-hot poker had been dragged across his face from hairline to jaw. He could have had it removed as soon as it was made all those long years ago, but he had elected not to. I wonder if there's a story behind that. I was laughing because it sounded again like the description of Santa Claus. It was like, his stride quick and active, his manner abrupt.
Oh, like the night before
Like,
Christmas?
Yeah, the night before. His cheeks were like roses. His nose like a cherry. That's
His scar
Samael.
red and angry. Yeah, all right. So,
Jen, that's a great description of Samael. That's exactly what I have listed here, not realizing that it was from that first paragraph of the
Yeah.
spirits in there. But you asked about a story behind the scar. So there's no deep, real story about it. There's just some reference to it that it was given to him by Lews Therin. That's about it.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, but we don't know the story. At least maybe it's in Robert Jordan's notes somewhere. That'd be kind of cool to find out. So Samael, his original name is, I thought this was funny, Tel Janin, which is
Chelvannon?
Tel Janin Alansar. Oh, Islandsar.
Tell Janin what? What does it
Tel
mean?
Janin Chelvannon. Tel Janin
So-
Chelvannon.
just a quick aside.
We do
if you
tongue
read
twisters at
If
Watcom.
you read the Samael entry in Livingston's Origins of the Wheel of Time, Tel Janin is one letter shorter than Lews Therin in first and middle name. And he's almost but not quite measures up, and that was intentional.
Yes.
That was
He's
interesting.
certainly no Chelvannon.
No.
So he was an Aes Sedai and famous sportsman, known for his skill in archery and swordplay, among other things. He was once friends to Lews Therin. He was actually one of his best generals or top general during the War of Power. So he was fighting against the Shadow. And his greatest ability, military ability, was in defense. So he's a defensive fighter, and he would commit his forces only if certain of victory. So he was a kind of play it safe guy, I guess. Play defense until he saw victory and then attacked. Eventually, though, about 4 years later, he turns to the Shadow. He's actually sought out Grendel, who took him to Shal Ghul to swear himself to the Dark One, and that's when he took the name Samael, also Destroyer of Hope. So we've got Samael, who's the betrayer of hope. Samael's
He doesn't
the
just
destroyer
betray
of
hope.
hope.
He destroys hope.
Well, they're both Miles, right? There's Samael and Shamael. So
Yeah.
is that hope? Does Mile mean hope, I wonder? I haven't looked it up yet, but
Is that a translation? I didn't know that.
I thought it was an Old Tongue translation.
I didn't know that. I thought that was
Yeah.
just like what people called them.
I don't think so.
I didn't
Well, that's
realize
what
that.
the name means.
I
That's
think
what the
that's
name
what
means.
the name means. Yeah.
Wow.
So why did he turn to the dark side? Why did he turn to the Shadow? He thought the Dark One was going to win. And he also hated Lews Therin because he thought it was even though he was his friend, apparently, he thought he was a better general than Lews Therin and that he should be the one in charge of all the forces.
IL does mean hope, by the way.
Okay.
Sorry, just
He didn't get the promotion.
He didn't get the
So
promotion.
he literally
above his
joined the side
boss.
of the devil.
Yes. So then, yeah, he got upset, took his ball and said, I'm going home. But he didn't go home. He went to Shal Ghul and swore himself to the devil.
If Lews Therin was like, I don't know, if everyone wasn't so like obsessed with what Lews Therin was doing, I don't even want to blame it on Lews Therin, but I feel like half, if not more, of the Forsaken only turned because of like that he pissed them off in some way. Like if Lews Therin wasn't part of this, would
Yeah.
there even have been a war of power? Like, would there
well,
have been any Forsaken at all?
It's Lews Therin's
You-
fault. They all turned to the dark.
But what did he
I
do?
am-
Why?
when you like we did rip Lews a lot when we
Yes.
did our first Lews deep
Unintentionally.
dive, but yeah, not on purpose. But
He's just like Gaston, right? He stands there like a big smug jerk.
when you like the more you get into Samael and you kind of look at like his personality and stuff before the War of Power, before anything, you kind of see like this was kind of wired into him in the first place. He's a athlete who got a third name in the Age of Legends. I can't even imagine like what level of athletic competence that must require. Because,
Yeah, he's right
you
up
know,
there with LeBron James.
I guess so. But like I think it's interesting in a world without violence and war.
That didn't land.
His sports of choice that he excelled at were archery and fencing, which are both like have their roots in violence. So I think it's not surprising that someone who's used to being the best all the time is upset with not being the best.
Yeah, he's clearly very competitive, right? Like the sportsman part of him is very competitive, and he thinks he's a better general than Lews Therin. No. Yeah, you're right, Jen. I think that everything is Lews Therin's fault. Clearly, everything. He made these people turn to the shadow. He gave them no choice. It was either stay with me.
He doctored the logbooks.
Or go to turn to the shadow. Those are your choices. You follow me or you follow him.
I want to see a little bit of that in the show, that like Lews Therin isn't like the greatest guy who ever lived. Like,
I think you see that in his first scene where he's...
Yeah, they make him out to be like a jerk really right away.
I don't know about that. I feel like we don't know this. We don't know who's right or wrong in that. We know. But watching that scene, like, you don't really, for the information they have.
Clearly tells him straight out, if you do this, the Dark One's going to taint Sidene.
Yeah, but that's like, I know, yeah.
Your opinion, man.
That's what he should have said.
I was going to say unreliable narrator, but she's right. It is going to taint.
But that's not, nobody knows
like,
that.
I know.
They make it more, they make it in the show much more like Lews Therin's. I guess that's the way, that's the quick and easy way to make Lews Therin look more proud and smug.
I don't think he looks like a jerk. Yeah. I think he looks maybe like wrong in that situation, but not necessarily like driving people away from the light. I don't know.
In the show, they make it like he's willfully and deliberately moving ahead, knowing that this is going to happen, when in the books, no one knows that that's going to happen. Like, there's a chance something bad could happen. But
they're also losing, and
they're also fighting the devil. Yeah,
right, and not winning. They have to do something.
Yeah, and their other plan.
The only other.
Go ahead.
Right. Yeah, the only other plan they had also was impossible to happen because they lost the access keys, and was also a terrible idea.
Well, you know how they lost the access keys, right? Because the land that they were being hidden in was taken over by Sammael.
But he didn't know.
That they were there. Nobody knew that they were there, though. Like on the shadow.
Right.
So they were just there, and just they couldn't get to them because they were.
They should make an Ocean's 11 movie about like a couple of guys sneaking in to try to get the access keys, like Rogue One or something like.
There you go.
Well, they find them, right? Well, they eventually find them. Well, because they get them to Rodian.
Yes. Yeah. I guess the Dashane and take them to Rhuidean, or the ones who find them, I guess, after the world breaks. But, well, I guess after the Dark One's sealed away. But yeah, all ties in. It's all connected, everybody. Woven together.
It's like a pattern.
Like a pattern, yeah. Like a pattern.
Tapestry of ages, if you will.
Yeah. So I learned something today that I didn't know about him, right? So Samael was a soldier, a general. He wasn't like a politician or like a particularly good ruler or leader in the sense non-military. So any territories that he did take over, apparently they all suffered. The people in them suffered from like hunger and filth. Like he didn't do any. I guess he didn't build any infrastructure, invest any time into infrastructure when he took over territories. And he would feed his prisoners to Trollocs or just let them starve or just execute them.
Yeah. There was one instance where he was informed that he only had the food that he had provided his prisoners would only be able to feed half of them. So he ordered that half of the prisoners be murdered so that the food would be enough. And like, yeah, he generally, I was reading up on this too, like when he would take over new territory or even take over territory from other chosen, he would automatically take all the municipal leaders and engage them in his plots, like, which would further like accelerate the complete deterioration of running the actual territory. Like all he cared about was war and like conquest by fighting. That's all he focused on.
Yeah, he was single-minded, I guess you could say.
I guess so.
Yeah.
He wasn't very good at, he would have been good at playing Sim City.
Sim City?
You were talking about the not building the infrastructure. No,
Yes.
that's what I thought of.
That's all it takes.
A little Sim City. Yeah, and then, I mean, the rest is history, right? He's eventually captured and imprisoned by Lews Therin and the 100 Companions at Shire Ghoul, where he rests for the next 3,000 years, which is a sucky existence.
Rests.
Yeah, he rests. He doesn't.
Trapped in a dreamless sleep.
Yeah. So I think maybe this is a good time to get into the news. Right, so Watt Series posted an article yesterday, I believe, 2 days ago, I believe, and they found an audition tape, which they think is for Sammael. Now, obviously, they've been using code names, so it didn't actually say Sammael in it, but I guess, they made their best educated guess and are pretty confident that this person is Sammael. And the other person that the script involves is an unknown person, which I think we're going to try to figure out who this is. So as we do with all of our audition scripts, we're going to reenact this for you. I guess I'll play Samael and Jen, you could play unknown.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's fair.
Okay, no, go ahead, Tom.
I'm too close to it, Joe. I understand.
Okay. Let me get in character of somebody.
Of unknown.
Just
You want a
generic
backstory? You want a
person.
backstory for unknown?
No, that's fine.
Unknown is an Aes Sedai
Okay.
of the Blue Aja.
Okay.
She's a Kyrianan noble lady. No, go ahead.
I'm going to just read it. Where is it?
5 seconds. You can't even wait 5 seconds for an answer. It's disappointing.
I agree. I'd read you were one of the greatest generals of your age. I'm surprised I was able to capture you so easily.
I wasn't the greatest general. I was a visionary, a pioneer, a conqueror. In my time, there were no armies. Hadn't been for centuries. Knives were used for cooking, not killing. And as for military tactics, they'd all been long forgotten. I discovered the art of war. I taught my people to be soldiers. I taught those soldiers to form armies. And I taught those armies to follow me.
Well, they're not here now, are they?
They're not. It's just you and me.
I'm not afraid of you, Samael. And you'll answer my question eventually. Where is it? It's all right, I can wait.
That's the thing, though, isn't it? You can't. Your magic holds me here. You can't move from that spot. Can't eat, breathe, or sleep. Shit. You can't do any of the things you mortals have to do to stay alive. I'm not your prisoner. You're mine. If there's one thing I've gotten rather good at these last 3,000 years, it's waiting.
And scene. That was intense. All right, so who is this unknown person?
I don't know, because
Well, it's someone who can wield the one power, right?
yeah, it's definitely a channeler, but I mean, this doesn't have to be a real scene. This could be a completely made up scene, but if it was real, I don't know of anybody that would talk to him like this. You know what like Leon, I don't think Leandrin would. Let's just say like somebody on the dark side. Like I don't think they would talk to a Forsaken like this.
No.
And I don't like Moraine, maybe? Like I can't think of like Nynaeve or Elaine being like on this level yet. Unless it's at like the end of the season, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to say right now, I don't think this is an actual scene for the show.
I don't
this
think
is an
so
audition.
either.
I think this is just like,
But let's
hey,
pretend.
Samael, this is what
Yeah.
is what we want from your part. Let me write a scene for you. But if I had to say like, who is it? I don't think this is Nynaeve, which I heard a lot of people say, because
Yeah.
Nynaeve, this is very similar to like the Nynaeve Moghedian scene. But I don't think Nynaeve reads. And she wouldn't have read about Samael. I'm not even kidding. I just think that that's not like, this does not sound like her character at all. Nynaeve feels things and learns from oral tradition. I feel like I don't think she would like spend her time or any of her time like reading up on the Forsaken. I think that Egwene could be that person. If it is a non-Aes Sedai, I would put this on her. But I think that she's the most likely person to not be afraid of Forsaken.
That's true.
And like think that she's already fought one of them, you know. So I would bet on her.
I don't know. I'm on the I'm on the same page. I don't think this is a real scene. If it is, though, holy shit, what's going on? What is this scene? Let's pretend it is. It's a real scene in the show. Where, when, what's going on? What is this? What is the item too? That's the other question.
So I think the item has got to be whatever item they're in Tanchico for. And when we did our whole Tanchico breakdown a couple of weeks ago, we forgot about one other character who's cast in season 3 that was likely to also be in Tanchico, and that's Carradine.
Yes. Yeah, Carradine, yep.
And Carradine is in Ebu Dar, not Tanchico, on Samael's orders, right? So if that's why he's in Tanchico, Samael could be there for that. Could be there to be the person behind the Dark Friend White Cloak and get embroiled in whatever situations are happening there.
Jen, before we were recording, you said you thought you knew what scene this was or what Samael's doing or going to be doing in season 3.
Yeah, that was literally, it was like Samael sent Jacob Carradine to Ebu Dar, and I was like, all of these things are, that's okay. I was like, all of these things are happening. Like, that's probably what he's going to be doing. But are the Forsaken immortal?
No.
Like you said, like you
They're
mortals.
just really hard
I don't know if
to
that's
kill.
just like a line. I know, but like he still like has to eat and breathe.
It's a cheesy line.
Yeah.
I think they're. I do think they. I don't know if they'll die by natural causes.
No, that I don't know about.
Like, well, I thought they would live an extra long life because they were channelers, like the Aes Sedai, and like maybe even longer because they're. I don't know.
That's part of it too.
But I don't think like they're. I didn't think they were immortal. I thought they were like frozen in the prison and now they're out. They just seem like because they're just so much more overpowered than everybody else.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they're immortal. I mean, they're hard to kill, obviously.
Because.
But
yeah, I mean, Lanfear clearly is.
Yeah, there's something going on with her. I don't know what that is.
Right, but they kind of like, although the way he says it is not specific, it's kind of implied that that's a special gift for her, although it's not said directly, so it could be for all of them. And obviously, as long as they don't die the final death, they can be reincarnated pretty easily. And I almost wonder if that's like the reincarnation that we're going to see in the show.
Oh, what happened to Lanfear?
Yeah, we're not going to give you a new body. We're just going to restart you.
Yeah.
I don't think so about the Lanfear part. If this was a real scene in the show, when I first read it, I thought of Asmodean. Like I thought this would, it kind of reminded me a little bit of like potentially the end of The Shadow Rising with Rand and Asmodean or Lanfear or whoever it is, although this definitely isn't Lanfear that he's talking to. But I don't. Yeah. We're pretty sure Asmodean's going to be in the show because they at least had the statue of the Forsaken with the guitar. So we definitely. I shouldn't say definitely, but we're pretty confident that Asmodean's going to be in the show. So where would if Moghedien's in Tanchico, then we've got Sammael also in Tanchico, and then
I mean it does also. It could. Rand is another good guess for who this is. Like I think
I don't know. I mean, I feel like he would have referenced something.
Yeah, it would have been like he would have been calling him Luz or whatever.
Yeah.
So in the books, right? Like what we get early on of Samael is, right? We learn that he's taking control of Ilion, right? Moiraine finds that out in The Dragon Reborn. He's posing as Lord Brend, a member of the Council of Nine, and he sends Dark Hens after them.
Dark Hens?
Dark Hounds, sorry.
Dark Hens.
They're Dark Hens on the TV show.
Dark Hens, yeah. He sends Dark Hounds after them. So I guess I'll ask this before I get into the Shadow Rising. You think we're going to get Dark Hounds in season 3? There's also an attack of Dark Hounds, I think, in Shadow Rising, right? When they're in the Waste, they get attacked by Dark Hounds too.
And it's Fires of Heaven?
Oh, is it Fires of Heaven?
You know they do? Yeah. Because I know they attack at Rodian, and that's when, like, the Drool goes on that, but
Oh, yeah.
Red Bale fires him, and then
Yeah.
then he's healed. He's like,
Yeah.
oh, my arm, I thought it was bad, but it's just fine.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know.
It'd be pretty cool to get them, just because they.
I like Dark Hounds.
I imagine they look really cool. They would look really cool. And that's all really, you don't even see him, right? So, right, he doesn't actually appear till what Jen read, the Fires of Heaven prologue. But in the Shadow Rising, he comes up again. Maureen's trying to convince Rand at the beginning to go after Samael and invade Ilion. He decides to go to the Waste instead. And Samael, once again, sending Shadow Spawn. He sends Shadow Spawn to Tyr. And then we get that whole scene with Rand Rand does that crazy Shadow Spawn kill, weave.
Yeah.
And then tries to bring back to life a dead girl.
Not as awesome.
Yeah. And then, in the prologue that Jen read, that's a meeting between Forsaken and Teller and Riyadh. They're planning to try to lure Rand to attack Samael and laying him a trap. Brigida's there, right? Brigida sees him and them.
I think that one's later on, because they meet again later. That's when that's when Brigida takes Nynaeve to spy on Moghedien, who's spying on them.
He's spying on, I think, Moghedien. So yeah, he's spying on Lanfear, I think, Ravine and Grendel.
Right.
Brigida's spying on him and Moghedien. I don't know. It's all a weird spying circle. And then he also attacks Rand, right? So the first interaction I think we get with any of the other characters, like the good characters, he attacks Rand with the one power at the Battle of Carrion. Now, if they are pushing that into this season, it makes sense to introduce Samael, and maybe he shows up there. If the end of the season is like the battle at Carrion, I don't know.
I don't remember what you're talking. What's
the battle of Carrion at the end of?
Just from afar, there's lightning bolts come streaking from the sky.
Oh, when they're on the tower.
No, that's later, I think, right?
No, that's before. It starts out on the tower. A lightning bolt hits the tower, and then Rand's traveling around the whole battlefield. You don't see all of it, but every once in a while, Samael is just trying to
kill him,
attack him.
Yeah,
kill him from afar while during the chaos of battle.
Yeah, and he's also the one.
And then, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was wrong. So go ahead.
Okay.
I realized whatever I was about to say was not true. So
he's also the one who orders Melindra, the Dark Friend Maiden, to kill Matt.
That's what I was going to say, but that's not true.
It isn't?
I realized that after I say it. No, it's ordered to make it look like it's him. It's very
really?
It's blatantly a 9B's Ilion dagger, because all they want to do is focus everything on Rand, right?
Oh.
So it's the way I was about to say the same thing, but I'm pretty sure it's not him doing that, because he's
but he's also in on he's trying to lure Rand as well, though. So it's not like he's
in on it, but he's not crazy enthusiastic about the plan either. He's going along with it, but I don't think he'd be trying to goad Rand into doing it.
But
he's prepared in case Rand does.
That's the beginning that's the prologue. They're all making a plan to try to lure Samael to Rand to attack Samael, and he's there.
Yeah, and then they're going to be there, and they're and the other Forsaken is supposed to be there, linked to that doesn't work out though.
No, I mean because he doesn't attack.
At
that point. So
but I think I'm trying to think
I think he does order it, but it's supposed to be obvious that he ordered. I agree with you. It's supposed to be obvious that he made the order, that he did the order. But I think
I thought it was Lanfear's still alive at that point, right?
Yeah, she doesn't die till the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Lanfear. She's the one who's been like giving messages to Melindra.
Is it? Is she the one? I know she's
she's the Forsaken who's with the Aiel. Like
no, but she's already gone in Fires of Heaven. She's not with them. She's not Kylie anymore at that point.
I know she's not with them, but I think she's the one. Because Melindra's the one who messages Haddon and Kadir to let him know like he's not alone, and Haddon doesn't know who it is. And she makes mention of the fact that like she's spoken to a chosen two in that message. I'm sorry, I don't have a lot of details. I didn't know we were going down this path, but
well, let's turn around then.
I don't know.
Go back.
Anyway, doesn't make a difference. I think that, man, like I would be much more surprised if Sammael has a decent part in this season than if he shows up in like one scene towards the end at a Forsaken tea party. Like I can't see how you. I think you were right. The first thing you said, Joe. I don't know how you fit him in. You've got Forsaken in the Waste. You got Forsaken, in Tanchico, and you've got probably Slayer in the Two Rivers, or Fane, or both.
Combined Fane.
Could Samael have sent Jacob Carradine to Tanchico while he himself is in Camelin seducing Morghese and taking the Ravine role? Is that too much?
No, I don't mind that.
But you don't know yet that he's the Forsaken. You don't know he set Jacob Carradine there. You don't know that it's all connected, that he's a Forsaken at all until whenever.
Well, I don't know. I don't think this is. You know why I don't think this is real? Because I can't fit it in the story to make sense. That's why.
Right, but
I don't mind that at all, Jen. Like you got, Morghese is played by Olivia Williams. You're probably going to give her a more meaty part than we had originally thought. Maybe without Robin, you put Sammael in his place,
and then he doesn't die there. He just escapes at the end somehow, and then
he escapes to Ilion, or just no Ilion.
I don't know. I don't know. Who knows?
I mean, there's nothing really. I mean, you could cut Ilion from the story, like anything that happens.
We have Baeldum. Well, I mean, Baeldum.
No, I mean not its existence, but like any events that take place there, which aren't many.
Right, he gets the Crown of Swords. That's what, right?
Yeah, there's some conversations.
Well, yeah, I mean, Dragon Reborn, but that whole storyline was cut, so that's not happening. They all go there, right?
Right.
And Dragon Reborn, they go to Ilion. Oh, they stop. Yeah, that's where. Well, they don't go to Ilion. Moraine goes to Ilion. They're outside. No,
they're all.
They're outside of Ilion.
Okay, but
goes.
Well, they're in.
They're in the country. You're right. They're in the country.
No,
they're in the nation of Ilion.
Where do they go to the inn and with the hedgehog or something? Right? Is that what it is?
No, that's
in
Tyr.
That's in Tyr.
Yeah.
The hedgehog is in Tyr. It's the end of the book.
Oh, they go back to Tyr. Okay, but they're leaving. They're leaving Ilion when they get attacked by the Dark Hounds, right? And they have that fight.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. They're not in the city, right? They're in the country of Ilion. They're not in the city.
Okay.
Moraine goes to the city to finds out that Sammael is taken over. But yeah, there's nothing really that happens in Ilion. They could cut the entire like Ilion location, like as a location in the show. Like it exists. It's a place, but then they just don't go there. One, it'll save them money, and two, you just don't need
Lord Brand in Camelin.
Could be. But still doesn't explain the scene. But okay.
Who's Salmon? Oh, that's Bilal, right?
Yeah, the High Lord Salmon.
Lord Salmon. Okay.
Salmon. Yeah.
Salmon. Yeah, he's he's the one in Tyr, which we're not getting. So yeah, I think they cut Ilion as a location. We don't need it. You don't need to be in Ilion. You don't need to go there. You could do, Jen, I like your idea of putting Samael in Camelin. And
what if
you can combine him and Ravine and give him some characteristics of both?
So combine the fight to speed this up. When he fights Ravine, make that when he fights Samael and goes to Shadar Logoth. Like, just make that all, and then, like, that happened. I don't know. Like combine that whole thing and like speed up the storyline a little bit. No.
But maybe. But then like you're putting Samael like I don't know, one and done thing.
I don't know. I
don't even know if it.
Maybe that's next season. That's next season though. That thing.
I guess. Or you do. I think I like your first thing better, where you just kind of like he's here, and then Rand deals with him after he deals with after he is out of the box.
Yeah, the box. I forgot.
Right.
So the box in between that. All right.
Yeah, you don't have to do that, but I hope they do. Some of my favorite Samael stuff is the Samael and Grendo Roadshow.
Yeah.
And that's all in book 6 and book 7. So I hope that you get that part of it. But they could just have him come in to get eliminated.
So let's go.
The other Forsaken that are appearing in this season don't, right?
Let's go back to the scene. Pretend it's real. Item. Anyone have any thoughts on what the item's gonna be? We've got Bowl of the Winds, the domination bands, right? The male Adam, access keys.
Ooh,
Calendar.
I like domination band. I like it and I don't like it. Because I feel like we just did the item, but we also understand what the item is, rather than explain. Like, but it cannot be the Bowl of the Winds, or we cannot be doing that.
Let me ask you: do you think that they're going to do the statues and the access keys the way they are in the books? Because there's been the
statue.
No mention of any, right? There's a statue. I mean, you could set it up next season, like in the flashback stuff.
You don't really need to set those up either that much. Well, if they're going to be in Ruidian, are they going to find access keys at the end, like in Ruidian? It's the question, right? They would show up. They would need to, if they're doing the cleansing of the taint, they would need to show up before then. Maybe it could be the same season they do it. Like they don't need to foreshadow some stuff as early as they do in the books, because people are going to forget it, right? Like if they introduce access keys in season 3 and then don't use them till like season 5 or 6, like what's the point of having them like introduced?
Is that what he uses to cleanse the taint?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nynaeve, yeah.
Is it necessary? Can he just like use something else to cleanse the taint?
Well, I'm saying
not have to put those big statues into the story at all.
Well,
you don't have to put the big statues in. You just have the small ones.
Yeah.
I mean, the big statues, they could just show them. Oh, there's statues, or whatever.
I don't think they need to show the IMR mass suicide thing either.
That'll play well. They can introduce them in that season, like at the beginning of the season, introduce them, or at the end of the season prior.
Play well.
We don't need to introduce them this early.
Suicide plays.
Yeah, mass suicide plays. That's all I'm saying. I'm definitely going to put up a poll though on Twitter and see what people think. Like I'll throw up a couple of those items and see what people are thinking, if this is a real scene. But yeah, if it would have to be an Aes Sedai, right? It's not another Forsaken, because they're acting as if they don't know him. So it would have to be someone who can channel. So it'd have to be an Aes Sedai, unless a wise one. I don't know, Windfinder. It's probably an Aes Sedai or one of the girls, I guess, but that doesn't make sense to me either. Or maybe What Series has got it totally wrong, and maybe it's Moghedian.
Maybe that's Asmodean.
Or Moghedian.
No, he says you mortals, so it can't be another chosen.
Right, and it can't be another chosen. No, I'm saying maybe this isn't a Sammael edition script. Maybe this is an Asmodean.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, maybe it's not Sammael.
But the greatest generals of your age, it has to be Sammael. This is.
Oh yeah, that's why they did it.
That's why I think context clues make it and also like they do have a naming convention.
Yeah, it was an
S name and whatever else. But I don't know.
You know who reads Egwene?
Oh God, they're gonna have her capturing Forsaken already, Egwene.
She's a different Egwene.
They're just giving everybody stuff to her. That's Nynaeve, and
I don't know when I don't know when they would come into contact with each other in the story we just talked about, where he might be, but
Right.
As far as like attitude, but this could just be like nobody. It's just like a channeler capturing Samael. This is what would happen if this happened. It doesn't have to be a scene from the show. Like we said, we keep going away from that.
I mean,
so it could just be nothing.
They have to know that they have to know that we're finding these, right? Well, not that but you know what I mean? That the fandom is finding them. Just basically what series is finding these and posting them. They know that. So I'm wondering if they've just gotten smarter and said, you know what? We're just going to make fake scenes up for the auditions from now on instead of using real ones because they keep finding them.
Well, that's what the people said. Like they didn't even know who they were auditioning for. Some people, so it's
right.
We know it because it's, just like you said, from context clues, but this isn't.
I think they've just gotten smart.
Yeah.
They're not giving us real scenes anymore. It's
a
game. It's all a game.
It is. I want to point out where our in chat is saying, the person who reads the most is Varen, and that could be an interesting dynamic as well. And I agree 100%, and that's why I wanted to give that shout out.
No.
I just don't. I can't see any of the Aes Sedai right now. Like, what's her play here? Like going toe to toe with the Chosen.
They're looking for something.
I don't know.
I would say this too, just to throw it out. If it were to be Varen, that at least would indicate that he was a Forsaken that was not in any of the other two storylines. If Varen's still going to be in the Two Rivers, and then I don't know what they would be looking for there, but
I don't know.
Yep. I got nothing. It's confounding to me. It can't be real. What's gonna? What's gonna happen? We're gonna be like go back and like episode. This scene's gonna happen in one of the episodes, and we're gonna be like, "That's the scene."
Right.
This doesn't make now. It makes sense, but it still doesn't make sense. I'm sure. I'm gonna be looking for it though. That's for sure. When season 3 eventually comes out, if we even remember this, but we never got that Gowan scene.
No,
and we don't think it's gonna be in season 3 because they're pretty sure from when it was recorded that it was a season 2 scene. So I don't know whether we also don't know how early, right? Because we know that they rewrote some stuff early on. So maybe he was originally going to be it and they took him out, or I wonder what I
assume that's what it is.
Yeah. I wonder if they even cast him or they just auditioned him, because if you cast somebody and then you're like, oh, you know what? We're not putting you in the season. Like, I don't know how that works with.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, are they willing to hold off till the next season, or they're like, no, sorry.
No, I'm sure I'm sure it's more the latter.
Yeah, they just recast the person.
Yeah.
Well, what if the actor's willing to wait?
I think if they're going to start writing a character in season 3 instead of season 2, there's a decent chance the character's going to be different. You might get the same person back. You might want a different person for it.
I'm not sure. It's all a mystery to me. But they've been finding a lot of these recently. I'm very surprised that these are getting out there. But this is pretty cool. It's keeping us excited and interested and keyed into when season 3 is going to come out for the long haul, the long and winding road that we're going to go there. All right, Tom, anything you found in your research? I know you were checking the interview database. Was there anything that we missed that you wanted to share with us?
Yeah, I think there were a few interesting things I found. Obviously, I think all the Forsaken have a lot of historical and mythological antecedents. I think you talk about a general with a penchant for defense and victory with a height issue, and you go to Napoleon first, and I think he's probably one of the biggest influences on Sammael. I
want to say something to that. I'm sorry, Tom, not to interrupt you, but according to the companion, he's about 6 feet tall.
Yeah, Sammael's like he's a little bit taller than me. He's just not tall, and I
he's
wonder
just not as tall as this
I've
thing.
wondered about. Yeah, I wonder about this a lot because RJ was a tall man, right? And I sometimes wonder whether he he didn't know what height a short person was because he was so tall, or whether this is all just kind of like an in joke, because Sammael is taller than most people. He's just not as tall as Lews Therin or Demandred, right? But I also want to say Napoleon was not short. He was an average height man as well.
But average height in Europe back then was what, like 5'2"?
Yeah, no, he's around 5'7".
I'm joking, but yeah.
But you're right. But he wasn't like short. He was short to us. He's not short. He wasn't short to his contemporaries. But he wasn't tall, and I think that was part of it. Part of the same thing. So that's a huge influence. And Napoleon was also someone which I didn't know about. I learned that in doing the research for this episode. Was a leader who treated his citizenry and his army unbelievably shabbily. All he cared about was victory. His armies died by disease and maltreatment frequently throughout his career as a general and emperor, much like Sammael. I thought it was very interesting. The other thing, I have to look this up because I'm not as familiar with Roman history as you are or others are, but the other thing that I thought was really interesting was Crassus.
Marcus Crassus, yeah.
Marcus Crassus is so Joe, you might know, but other people may not. I'm reading this, and I thank the 13th Depository for providing me this information. I think Linda wrote this one, so thank you, Linda. Crassus was a Roman politician who formed the first triumvirate with Julius Caesar and Pompey the Great. Yeah. And Pompey the Great is also a Demandrid parallel when we get into that character later.
I was thinking more of a Samael potential, but okay.
So again, so I think that there's two reasons why Samael, the
richest man in Rome, Crassus.
Yeah, and he did it by a lot of political backstabbing and betrayal. I think that's more along the lines of why Pompey.
He was a businessman, Crassus, more than like he was a pretty good general too, but he was a businessman, I think, first. He was the richest man in Rome.
Right. He's I think so Crassus was responsible for defeating Spartacus in battle.
Yeah, he was put down that rebellion.
Right, and like his cruel, anyone who's seen the movie Spartacus knows, crucifixion of like the 6,000 or so people that he captured just to let them be crucified and rot there. That I think again is indicative of how Samael treated his prisoners of war.
He also, I think, didn't he also decimate his troops once?
Yes, in that same thing. In order to be clear again, because this is like. By decimate, he literally means kill a 10th of them. He had them draw lots, and one out of every 10 member of his own army would be killed by the rest of the army to show that army that he means business and they're going to kill Spartacus.
They would beat him to death with clubs. That's what it would. It'd be like 10 people. You draw a lot. One person, the person who draws the shortest straw, gets beaten to death by the other 9.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess it saves you money on food and supplies, but
it was punishment
I think
for like a failure or something in battle.
Because they lost to Spartacus in the first time they fought to him, and then I think he was as a general lesser than both Pompey and Julius Caesar, and I think that's why
he's very organized. He's a good organizer. That was like his strength in being a military leader.
Yeah. And then the other military leader that I thought was an interesting parallel was Rommel from World War II, a German general. Always got to bring the Nazis in when you're talking about the Forsaken. And Rommel, again, defensive genius, had a lot of victories for Germany in North Africa, was responsible for setting up the defense of the Allied invasion. And all of his advice about what to do and how to do it was ignored by Der Fuhrer. And as soon as he had said, well before the invasion happened, if they succeed in landing their troops and staying here, we lose. There's that's it. We have to turn the invasion away. And when that happened, he tried for the next few months to convince Hitler that they cannot win this war anymore and that he should sue for peace and take whatever he can get. And when that didn't happen, he became part of the plot to overthrow Hitler with the promise that he would take over as the leader of Germany.
Oh, like
So
that Tom Cruise
again,
movie.
that's what that movie's about.
I know,
Yeah.
I know.
And
What's that one
yeah,
called
yeah.
again? I can't
Valkyrie is the name of the
Valkyrie,
secret
yes.
plan to do it.
Yeah.
And it was Germans who were motivated to like say like, hey, we aren't like necessarily Nazis, we're just German soldiers and we want to, whatever. But yeah, they were all bad.
This guy's fucking nuts.
But yeah, exactly. So there is, even though you're betraying a bad guy, one of the worst guys, there is that sense of like, Rommel knew this was a losing battle. Let me try and get over on the other side of things. So those are the three that I found that I thought were interesting. There's tons of other ones. If you don't go to the 13th Depository, I always recommend reading that for really good insights into a lot of the books and where things come from. So, but yeah, that was it. And then I throw in the other thing about like his name being not quite measuring up to Lews Therin. I thought that was a funny little jab.
And not quite measuring up to Chelvannon's name.
No, that too.
All right. Any last thoughts before we wrap it up? Because I don't have anything else to say.
No. I will say this again. I've said it before. He's the best. And he's the best not because of the stuff that he does in the books, but because of, I think his character, he's one of the, I think he's one of the only Forsaken who has some level of like complexity to him. Him and Grendel's interactions are terrific. I hope they appear on this show.
I think we're getting them, Tom. I'm pretty confident. We saw those statues. So, let's leave them with this question. I'll ask one more question. I lied. I said I didn't have anything more to say, but I do. Since we're getting Sammael, are we going to get Grendel? Because those two in the beginning, when they're first introduced, they're pretty intertwined with their plotting, all of them.
I don't think we'll get her this season, but I think we are getting her.
Okay, not this season though. Tom, this season?
We saw the vagina on the
yes.
on the seal.
The seal wheel.
Yeah.
I just thought it was cleavage. Anyway, yeah, I think I said it before, I'm putting it down now. I think you're gonna get a Forsaken tea party at the end of this season. And that's when you're gonna get introduced to all of the Forsaken. You're gonna see I think you're gonna have everyone cast before the season's over.
I think you're gonna see I don't know if you're gonna see all of them. I think you probably won't see Demandred yet. Maybe, but I think you're gonna see Samael, Grendel, and who else am I missing? Lanfear will be at the tea party.
Semiraj or
no, I think you have Asmodean.
And Asmodean, that's right. Will he be there though? Will he even be at the
Moradin, Asmodean, Mogedion, Lanfear, Samael, Grendel, Demandred, and
Samael. Did you say Samael?
One more girl, I thought that it was going to be.
Oh, Semiraj.
Yeah, Semiraj. Probably Semiraj.
I don't know if we're going to see all of those, though. I think maybe Semiraj and Demandred are held off. And
is Demandred going to be Mazrim Taim?
I have no idea.
Because we might see him, like, in the season.
That's true. We might meet Mazrim Taim. But I don't think we'll meet Demandred in the sense of him as himself or in his own boast incarnation. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like we might be Mazrim Taim and he could be Demandred, but we're not going to know that this season. So that's my final thought. This time we're good. So I want to remind everyone to follow us on social media. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Join us over in Discord to continue the conversation there. We also post our episodes on YouTube, so go check out our YouTube page and be sure to like and subscribe. Rate and review us wherever you listen to podcasts, and check out our merchandise and Patreon pages to support us that way. Links to all the aforementioned are included in the show notes to this episode. Jen and Tom, final words before we say goodnight.
Really quickly, we do have a review. It's one sentence long.
Oh, let's see.
I believe we know the author. His name is Rob the Designer. It's a 5-star review.
Oh, thanks, Rob.
But it's titled, "Okay, I guess." If I was stuck in a car with a surly Uber driver already listening to a podcast, this is the one I'd mark them down the least for making me listen to. Thanks, Rob. Thanks for your 5 stars.
I love it.
My God.
I love it. Thank you so much, Rob. That's the best review, I think. That might beat the review of the guy who said he liked our
Bombastic.
podcast, but disliked the show and then gave us 1 star.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
like he must have forgotten as he was writing the review that he was reviewing our podcast
So
and not
angry.
the TV show.
Yes.
Oh, thanks, Rob. Tom, any last words?
No, I can't top that.
Okay, so thanks everyone for listening, and you'll hear us next time.